Welcome. My name is Tamala Olsby, and I want to welcome you to this webinar on the high-quality pre-kindergarten component of teacher-to-student ratio. Again, my name is Tamala Olsby. I am an education specialist here at the Early Childhood Education Division of TEA. Here is our agenda for the day. We will begin by looking at an overview of the high-quality pre-kindergarten components, and then we will zero in on teacher-to-student ratio. We will look at what is in statute and commissioner's rule, think about what does that all mean, look at a frequently asked question, and then we will close our time together by talking about how to meet this requirement and sharing some resources and support for you. So let's briefly look at this high quality component. These are the high quality pre-kindergarten components that are referenced within statute and are a requirement of every public pre-kindergarten program within Texas serving eligible 4-year-old students. The goal of implementing these components is to raise the quality of the pre-kindergarten experience within our state. The focus of this particular webinar is on teacher-to-student ratio within a pre-kindergarten classroom. All of the information contained today in this presentation comes from at least one of these references listed on this slide. Please note that the high-quality pre-kindergarten components are applicable to all programs, all districts, all open enrollment charters, and all districts of innovation if they serve eligible 4-year-olds using foundation school program funding. And I've given you some references in statute to back up that assertion. So here we go. What are the high quality requirements that focus on teacher-to-student ratio within a pre-kindergarten classroom? This slide articulates what is in statute, which is the first reference, and what is in commissioner's rule. You will notice they are almost identical. So let's read what's in statute. A school district must attempt to maintain an average ratio in any pre-kindergarten program class of not less than 1 certified teacher or teacher's aide for each 11 students. And you will notice in commissioner's rule, it is almost identical. There is a second reference in commissioner's rule, and it says, a school district or an open enrollment charter school shall maintain locally and provide at the TEA's request the necessary documentation to ensure fidelity of the high quality pre-kindergarten program implementation. So basically what this says is that if TEA requested it, an LEA should be able to back up with documentation their compliance with this high quality component. So what does all this mean? So what is required? Well, you will notice the references in statute and commissioner's rule said the attempt to maintain an 11-to-1 ratio. So what does attempt mean? When you look up the definition for attempt, it means to make an effort to do so, to do something, to accomplish something, or to solve something. You're making an effort. And it implies that the attempt is continuous until the something is achieved. So in this case, it would be until the ratio is achieved. So what does maintain mean? The definition of maintain is to keep in an existing state, to preserve from failure or decline. So if we take these two definitions together, what is required in statute is that a district should be doing an 11-to-1 ratio, or should be attempting continuously until that ratio is achieved. And the maintaining means that it is achieved throughout the school day. There is not a part of the day where a higher or lower ratio is maintained. So here is a frequently asked question that we get sometime about this particular high quality component. It's been asked, what qualifications must a teacher aide meet? And there are, believe it or not, certifications for which a teacher aide may apply. In order to apply, the teacher aide must first be employed by a school district. Teacher aides are encouraged to contact their employing school district for an application, instructions, and to confirm they meet any additional requirements established by the district prior to being issued an educational aid certificate. And there are actually 3 levels to this certificate. One is Educational Aid 1, one is Educational Aid 2, and the last is Educational Aid 3. And I've given you the link there to how you could read what the requirements are for each of those levels. Let's look now at how you might meet this requirement. I would encourage you to do some reflection now, mainly to determine your next steps. This slide contains a checklist of the requirements that are associated with teacher-to-student ratio in pre-kindergarten. So once you read, you'll see there are 2 requirements there. And once you read those 2 requirements, then I would like you to reflect on, are we meeting that? Or is our effort to meet it still in progress? And if it is still in progress, what follow-up or what next steps might you do in order to reach compliance? This checklist is part of an overall checklist that can be found on our high quality webpage. And I'll give you a link to that at the end of the presentation. So let's look at the 2 requirements. It says the LEA attempts to maintain a teacher-to-student ratio of 1:11 in their pre-kindergarten classrooms, and the LEA maintains the appropriate records to document compliance with this high-quality component. If you are in compliance with this high-quality component, TEA would encourage you to consider using the pre-K version of the Early Childhood Program self-assessment to consider more ways to improve your pre-kindergarten program. Let's look now at some resources that might assist you. I've given you the link to our frequently asked questions page, and there are some questions there that are specific to teacher-to-student ratio. I've given you the link to the Early Childhood Program self-assessment tool, which we just finished talking about. And I've also given you the link to the 2015 Texas Pre-K guidelines. On page 16 in that guideline, there is a recommended daily schedule. And I do believe that would be beneficial when you are considering using educational aids and what their workload might be. And so I've given you the link to that as well. I've also given you the link to the Division of Educator Certification. And that would help you get to that qualifications for an educational aide, or if you just need questions answered on teacher certification, that link will help you. And then finally, that link to that checklist, that overall checklist for all of the high quality components is listed last. The Early Childhood Education Division of TEA is ready and very willing to support your efforts. So please do not hesitate to visit our website and don't hesitate to contact us when needed. In closing, I'd like to remind us that an effective teacher-to-student ratio is correlated to positive child outcomes. We are hoping this webinar will assist you in your continuous improvement efforts. Thank you for joining us.